Many, 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 many Dems wish death on me, Lord. I don't cry anymore. Don't look to the sky anymore. Have mercy on me. Have mercy on their souls. Somewhere their hearts turned cold. Have mercy on many Dems. Many, 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 many Dems wish death on me. Some days wouldn't be special if it wasn't for rain. Joy wouldn't feel so good if it wasn't for...
I just had my fucking mic on mute the whole time. You already know what time it is. We're back here to start some more Game on the Ground from Hunger Hound. So just got the pound and are ready for the next rounds. With that being said, make sure y'all grab y'all snacks, y'all drinks, y'all weed, whatever the fuck the case may be. And we finna jump right into this shit, man. We're gonna be looking at what Candace Owens uploaded, I think it was like, what, 4 days ago, 3 days ago, talking about the hidden messages in music. The title of her video is Rappers Expose Demonic Agenda in Music. So with that being said, man, I'm interested to see what the hell we got going on, what she gonna say, what we're gonna see and hear. So let me go ahead and just do that right there. That way you guys can see both flags. Got that one, and we got the American flag in the back too. You already know Trump 2024, baby. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into this shit, man. And I got my fucking drink right here. Got my fucking snack right here. Some good old Taki Bell, man. So with that being said, let's jump into this shit in 3, 2, 1, go.
Last day coming to you from Los Angeles. It's been fun, but it's time for me to get home. What do I have for you today? Well, are you familiar with that account Libs of TikTok? It's run by a young woman named Haya Raychick. She spawned an online debate because what she's been doing is capturing the really vile messages and rhetoric coming from left-leaning individuals on the internet. And she's been sending that content to their employers. She's been successful, by the way, because at least 3 people have been fired from their jobs based on their online rhetoric or something that they said. But people are asking, has this gone too far? Is the right now behaving like the left? Is this cancel culture? What do you guys think? Plus, we have got to discuss one of the many reasons, and I think really should be the final reason, that if you are still living in this godforsaken state of California, you need to pick up and leave. You are not going to believe, or maybe you will believe, the bill that Gavin Newsom just signed into law. But first, check out this photo. This is the reason I'm in Los Angeles, by the way, of me and Nick Cannon. We've been trying to make this happen for a very long time. We had a wonderful discussion. I'm going to tell you a little bit about it because we agreed on many things, but we definitively disagreed on one point, which he labels a conspiracy theory. All that coming up on Candace. Since the very beginning of my career, actually, he has been potentially the only Black media host that has wanted to have me on, even when the entire world was coming after me for standing up against Black Lives Matter. And so finally, we were able to make that happen this week. And we spoke for hours upon hours. And I believe that's going to be released next month. It's a show that he has called Council Culture, where he speaks to a lot of voices who have been canceled or attempted to be canceled. And so he was happy to have me on. And we discussed very many things. But there was this one point of contention, and I'm using that term loosely, honestly. We got along great. But we were discussing Black culture, or what he deems to be Black culture. And I pushed back and I said, this is not Black culture. I am so sick of people telling me that the music that we are hearing, which is demonic and possessed, is something that we should be asserting claim over. Like, oh, you have to defend Black artists that are producing filth. And I say, no, actually, it's been very clear to me for a long time that Black culture has been infiltrated, that there is some sort of an intentional push to sign artists who are creating music that is more and more derogatory. In fact, I think that Black music and music all across the board has become somewhat pornographic, but especially Black music. I mean, I grew up listening to The Temptations, Lauryn Hill. You can't tell me that these executives, these record executives, are crawling all across social media and this is the best talent that they can find. Of course it's not. They're intentionally signing these individuals, in my view, individuals like Cardi B, individuals like Sexy Red, because they are trying to impact our psyche. I believe the eyes and the ears are the window to the soul. And they know the soul is real, and they know that God is real. But as I've told you many times on this show, they are Team Satan. Well, lo and behold, I was scrolling on Instagram and I came across this montage of rappers and musical artists speaking about exactly that. Take a listen.
I was on rap stages rapping about, violence and guns. That we get paid to rap about that stuff. They actually pay us more when we rap about more ignorant stuff. So I make sure I even a line and come talk on stages like this.
That's kind of why I didn't want to do this song, Shake It, or like any drill songs, because it's like these songs are activating like these demons that I killed. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to be that girl anymore. Like I just want to be a mother. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to be that old Cardi anymore.
Well, what if Summer comes to you as pretty as she is and says, "Mom, I want to be a city girl"?
She ain't gonna be no city girl.
So Summer ain't allowed to be no city girl?
No. I want her raised totally different. Like, I don't even want her to even see the light of day like that. Like, I really want her to just be like, like level-headed, a schoolgirl, and just on a whole nother wave. Like,
so to be clear, to quickly recap who you had, there was Meek Mill, who was speaking about the music that they are told to create if they want to make money. Cardi B, sounding like she was close to tears because she doesn't want to make that sort of music. And she uses this phrase that the music that she's making, it's activating demons, she says. And again, sounds like she's about to cry. And then lastly, that was an artist known as Young Miami, who again is creating this weird paradox of she's saying she creates music that she doesn't actually believe in and that she doesn't want her children to listen to. And there have been rappers who have spoken about the fact that record labels will force them to record demonic phrases and to say demonic phrases backwards and to insert it into their music. So what's actually going on here? And I pushed Nick Cannon this. I said, you're calling this a conspiracy, but why aren't you listening to the artists who are saying that this is what they have to do? And by the way, this extends beyond music. I've spoken to models who say that they are basically told that they have to act like sluts, that they have to get naked if they want to get paid. Even if they're not comfortable, they have to do these sorts of things, perform these sorts of scenes in order to get paid. This is how you make money in Hollywood. And Hollywood is dark and Hollywood is demonic, in my viewpoint. I feel it spiritually. As soon as I land here, I'm just going, this is a dark place. And so here's what's really interesting. I had remembered seeing a clip of an artist speaking about just that. His name was, he has since been killed. This was his rap name, rather, XXX Tentacion. He released a song in 2016, which was entitled, I Spoke to the Devil in Miami. He said everything would be fine. And I'm going to read you these lyrics slowly. He wrote, the tears don't show, won't hurt me now, 'cause heart's been broke. I hate myself, but it won't show. I constantly lose all my remorse. And it's 10 for the wolf and 3 for the shepherd. And it's 1 for the sheep who, led by your leopard, took a bite of your apple. Give me all you can offer. Now I'm trapped in a changing maze, setting my soul ablaze. Couldn't control the pace. Where is this going, hey? My lord, I spoke to a Baphomet. He said he would save me if I gave him one thing he needed. What is this thing? I pleaded. Boy, it's the key to even. What you crave will soon be yours, but what I crave is already mine. Anima vestre, anima vestre, anima vestre, which means your soul. So he's describing there, if you're following these lyrics, that he spoke to a Baphomet. Again, that is the transgendered deity that was created by Satanists, people that worshipped the satanic Kabbalah. And he is saying that he had to sell his soul. And then he was told that he would be okay. He went down to Miami. And so you're hearing this and you're going, is he just writing this as a song? Well, we won't be able to ask him because, as I said, he was murdered just 2 years after having released this. And he was speaking a lot about what was happening in the industry. Same thing, as I mentioned to Nick Cannon, Kanye, who told me so many things that didn't make sense to me because it's hard to process that this could be happening in broad daylight. Kanye also wrote a song about how he sold his soul to the devil. That when he made this record deal, he understood that he was selling his soul to the devil and he wanted out of these contracts, which is why he figuratively blew up his life a couple of years ago. He did not want to be contractually bound to any person at all. So I'll ask the question, especially when you hear Tentacion speaking about Baphomet, right? You hear Cat Williams, as we have shown you many times on the show, who also said that he knew that Baphomet, transgenderism, this deity that represents transgenderism, was going to be a thing in Hollywood, that he knew they were going to start pushing this down the pipeline to the masses. I will ask you, when does this stop being a conspiracy theory? When do people start listening to the many artists who are trying to speak out and saying that they are being controlled, that they're being told what they have to sell to the public, or else some of them are saying their lives will be put into danger or they will lose everything financially? When do you stop believing the media that all of these people are crazy, that all of these people are lying, and that they are producing this stuff out of their own free will, and begin to instead start asking meaningful questions? I will conclude this by saying what I always tell you, is that Hollywood was intentionally designed as an attack on our spirits. There are spiritual forces at play. They are creating false idols, and they are dragging people further and further into the perverse. So don't have idols in Hollywood, okay? Because there shouldn't be idols, period. If you read the Bible, idolatry is an evil for a reason. Have faith in Christ and Christ alone. And that's all I'm going to say on that. All right, guys, it seems appropriate after speaking to that we immediately pivot to speaking about Hallow. If you want to get started on your journey and by and contemplative with biblical from the summer one, Hallow. Now, before we get into this first story, you know what I'm going to say. Subscribe. I can't believe we crossed 2 million followers. This, by the way, is going to be the last day that the Standice Cup is available. So head to clubcandace.com. That one is discontinued because it is the end of the week and we have crossed 2 million subscribers. Very exciting. So California, a lot going on there. And if you read that Chaos book, you're wondering if the devil lives here down in Los Angeles or around Los Angeles. Well, I have a lot of things that I would like to say about Gavin Newsom. There's this real fear that they are thinking about replacing Biden with Newsom. And when you look at all of the laws that Gavin Newsom has signed into law, all the bills that he has signed into law, it would be terrifying if he replaced Biden and somehow Biden assumed the presidency. Well, let me tell you what he's recently signed into law. It is a bill that bans schools from notifying parents about student gender identity. So we knew this was coming. We have been speaking to parents. I get messages all the time. Well, in California, we're not allowed to say no to vaccines. Okay, that means that the state is in control of your children. If they can decide what they're going to inject into your child and you have no say, they're in control. Well, now you don't even get to decide whether or not your child, who you know to be a boy or a girl, because you birthed them, is going to be referred to as a boy or a girl as they indoctrinate.
And at that point, boy, if somebody tries to sit there and tell me that I can't have any type of control over my own children, why the fuck are you still living there? There is no reason why you should still be living in a place like that. If they're sitting there telling you that you can't raise your children, you can't say no to what we want to do to your children, you can't do this, you can't do that, I'm crashing out if that's the case, boy. If they come knocking at my door, I'm crashing out. But that's to say that I would still even be living in a fucking place like that afterwards. Boy, if I ever lived in a place like that and they passed a fucking law like that, I'm out. ASAP. Deuces, I gotta go. See y'all later. Y'all can have fun with this shit. I'm gone. Peace out.
Them in the public school system. So let me cut to this video of Michael Schellenberger describing exactly what is going on with this bill. Take a listen.
Hey everybody, it's Mike Schellenberger for Public. I'm afraid I have some terrible news. The governor of America's largest and richest state has just signed a law that puts 10 million children and adolescents in grave danger of medical mistreatment. The media headlines are all wrong. They claim that California Governor Gavin Newsom's new law protects children by stopping public schools from outing their gender to their parents. In fact, it does just the opposite of that. This new law makes children vulnerable to irreversible and lifelong medical abuse and mistreatment. And it's all based on a pseudoscientific idea that some children are born into the wrong bodies and that we can change a person's sex through drugs and surgery. Now, for any of this to make sense, you have to understand what's happening right now in Britain. Several years ago, the government there appointed a well-respected pediatrician named Hilary Cass to investigate whether it was ethical to block the puberty of children, give them opposite-sex hormones, and perform surgeries on their bodies in an effort to make them feel better about their gender. Dr. Cass came back a few weeks ago and said, no, absolutely not. Around the same time, the British government banned puberty blockers nationwide. And just a few days ago, the new Labour Party government affirmed that it would maintain the former Conservative government's ban on puberty blockers. In her report, Cass said that so-called social transition, where a child adopts the identity of the opposite sex, is not a neutral act and has psychological consequences. In fact, it's the first step towards medical intervention. What Gavin Newsom has done is actively prevented schools from informing parents that their children have been put on a medical pathway. This is an outrageous attack on both the rights of the children and the parents. Children have a right to go through puberty. No adult should be able to block their puberty. And parents have a right to know if their children thinks that they are the opposite sex or were born into the wrong body. We have seen with leaked internal documents from the leading gender medicine group, WPATH, that these medical interventions, namely puberty blockers, hormones, and surgeries, are not only irreversible, but result in sterilization and loss of sexual function. Children and adolescents are simply not mature enough to understand the effects of so-called gender-affirming care. They cannot, in other words, give their informed consent. The new law that Gavin Newsom just signed creates the grave risk that activist teachers, students, and outside groups will convince children that they were born into the wrong body and then hide their social transition from parents, which will lead to these harmful medical mistreatments. As such, the law that was passed is the opposite of what both children and their parents need. We need schools to immediately warn parents if their children think they are the opposite sex. After all, this is a diagnosable psychiatric condition known as gender dysphoria. And if your child has a psychiatric disorder, whether it's anxiety, depression, an eating disorder, or gender dysphoria, you as a parent have a right to know. And schools must stop teaching children or allowing other people to teach children this pseudoscientific and dehumanizing ideas that it's possible to be born in the wrong body and that it's possible to change one's sex. It's not. As such, either the legislature, the courts, or a ballot initiative in California is required to nullify this law. Until then, it's important to spread the word to parents that California public schools are fundamentally unsafe for the millions of children who currently attend them.
So this is obviously insane. And it just, I can't imagine being a parent in California and deciding that you're going to allow your children to stay in the public school system. I mean, I have been telling parents for years to move out of California. And it's just odd to me that there are parents who believe that the system can be reformed when they're essentially saying to you, we will not only just implant these ideas into your child's head, but after our ideas have taken a hold of your children, we will put them on a pathway of medical tyranny, which is in many circumstances, in most circumstances, irreversible. Once you start introducing hormones, puberty blockers, once you block your puberty, we have seen that these people, as he mentioned, will wind up down the line permanently impacted by that decision because these are the same drugs. And this is a fact. Lupron just got rebranded. The same drugs that are given to pedophiles in prison are the drugs that are given to children who believe that what they're doing is just blocking their puberty, when in fact it is given to those prisoners in order to castrate them. And so that's, of course, what they're doing to children. If it's going to have the same impact, it's going to castrate children. Why is this being allowed? Well, we just showed you in monologue that there have been rappers speaking out about demonic agendas. They are talking explicitly, singers and performers, about Baphomet, comedians talking to you about Baphomet being an agenda. These people are here in Hollywood. These artists are here in Hollywood. These schools are surrounding Hollywood. California has become a dark experimentation state for the demonic. And I do not say the demonic in a fun, light way. Okay, Baphomet is a literal demon that these possessed people worship. And so I'm glad that that video went viral, and that was in large part due to Elon Musk sharing it, of Michael Schellenberger speaking about what was happening in California. And Elon Musk said this in response: "This is the final straw. Because of this law and the many others that preceded it, attacking both families and companies, SpaceX will now move its headquarters from Hawthorne, California to Starbase, Texas." He also included this: "I did make it clear to Governor Newsom about a year ago that laws of this nature would force families and companies to leave California to protect their children." That is how I want people who are still in California to receive this message. You are required as a parent, spiritually, emotionally, financially, to protect your children.
Mhm.
When you have a state that is at war with parents, and you better believe that that state will win that war because they have your children for 6 hours a day. They are propagandizing them in the classroom. When you have a state that is declaring war on your children, when do you say enough is enough and pick up and find a state that will not allow your children to become victims of experimentation? Because to me, I would have picked up and left yesterday, and I would have just figured it out. Oh, I have a job here. Don't care. Getting out of here. We'll figure it out. We just want to keep our children safe. That is the basic responsibility for parents, to keep their children safe. All right, guys, I want to tell you about American financing. Obviously, nations that we are bills are indebted, just like American financing. A lot of people need that. The number is 800. So Libs of TikTok has spawned an online debate between conservatives. We've been at each other's neck a lot lately. I think really kind of since the Trump assassination attempt, followed by the RNC, people deciding what the future of the conservative party should look like. Are we becoming leftist? Are we behaving like the left? Well, Libs of TikTok is a very popular account online, really has done so much important work. It is owned and operated by a young woman named Haya Raychik, who really just decided to start exposing the left. Like, she just kind of crawls the internet looking for clips of how the left is behaving and really just giving it a larger platform. And people really didn't like that. Well, she has become a true activist in the wake of the Trump assassination attempt by crawling the internet looking for how the left is responding so callously, quite disgusting. I mean, the rhetoric has just been vile. Who could celebrate the death of a firefighter, the person who lost his life that day, or be saying that you wished that Trump had actually gotten shot? I don't have that in me. I would never say as much contempt as I have for Hillary Clinton, for Joe Biden, for the lies that they are telling to the American people. I could never say, man, I wish I had just watched them get shot in the head. Well, that's what's going on online right now. I'll give you an example here. Libs of TikTok shared this. Meet Allison Scott, a teacher at Ardmore Tigers. That's a high school, I believe. She appears sad that the shooter missed and wishes that he had a better scope. These are the people educating your kids. Any comment, Ardmore Tigers? And she tagged the school directly. So an account posted on Facebook: "Say, gent that just shot Trump's ear, I got $500 to put on your books for trying to save us, homie." Laugh face. And Allison Scott, who is a teacher, replied and wrote, "Same. Wish they had a better scope." So Libs of TikTok shared that. And guess what? The superintendent of the schools replied and wrote this: "This is unacceptable. SDE is investigating. We will not allow teachers to cheer on violence against Donald Trump." And then he issued a follow-up saying, "I have investigated enough. I will be taking her teaching certificate. She will no longer be teaching in Oklahoma." Man, what do you guys think about that? Again, Libs of TikTok shared this. Meet Sean Rupp, the mayor of Burnville, Pennsylvania. He reportedly said, "Try harder," after the shooter missed. A petition is going around to get him removed after he allegedly bragged about no one being able to kick him out of office. Our tax dollars fund his salary. So she shared what he had to say as well. Again, she shared a police sergeant in Dallas. Here's a picture. Libs of TikTok wrote, "Dallas Police Sergeant Arturo Martinez has been placed on leave for posting aim better after the attempted assassination." Yep. And in fact, he did say aim better on social media, and now he has lost his job. So here's what I will say about those three in particular. And people are saying this is cancel culture. These are people that are teaching your kids. This is the mayor. These people are taking our tax dollars. So yes, actually, their rhetoric does matter. Would you want somebody teaching your children who wants or is applauding an assassination attempt on a former president simply for the crime of being conservative? That's the question. And the
Hell
answer is
no.
obviously no. So when it comes to teachers, when it comes to politicians, I say tell us absolutely everything, because they are making real world decisions about how children in this country are going to grow up. This is why we face all the problems that we face today, just what we were talking about with Gavin Newsom passing this bill. Yeah, it's relevant to know whether or not these teachers and these public figures, these mayors, people that are leading cities, have psychopathic thoughts, whether or not they harbor psychopathic tendencies when it comes to conservatives. So I am totally fine with that. It's this next one that I think is actually a bit more controversial. So what Liz TikTok came across was a Home Depot employee who shared on Facebook, as they were all sharing on Facebook, "Too bad they weren't a better shooter," Darcy Waldron Pinkney wrote. And she just shared it and tagged at Home Depot. Liz of TikTok shared it, and Home Depot replied and said, "Hi, this individual's comments don't reflect the Home Depot or our values. We can confirm she no longer works at Home Depot." Now, I feel differently about that because I believe that people have a right to a private life. This is not a person that is working in a public capacity. This is a person who is vile. This is a person who is disgusting. But does she have a right to post on her private pages what she may or may not perceive as a joke? I mean, maybe she's like, "Too bad they weren't a better shooter," and she could say, "I was just joking," and then she finds out that she loses her job, as a hourly employee at Home Depot. I don't know about that. I don't know about how I feel about that. I wouldn't have done it, is what I will say. But I also understand people that are saying, "We've been too nice. We've been too proper." They literally just attempted to shoot Trump. Okay. So what are we going to do? Just be nice until we lose the country? Or are we going to start playing by their rules? Are we going to start leveling up and saying, "Okay, you've done this to conservatives for years. You've crawled and tried to find out who was a Trump supporter and make them lose their jobs on the basis that they wore a MAGA hat, on the basis that they showed up on January 6th to hear the president speak. Is it time to get our hands dirty and play by the same rules?" I don't have an answer. I'm just asking you guys. I mean, I think it has gone very far, and we can't not face reality here and realize who we are fighting. These are people who would very much, if they could, have a war, who do celebrate the death of Trump supporters. And there's no greater example of that than the streamer Destiny I told you about. This guy gives me weird vibes. I met him. I thought it was very weird. He registered to be as someone who, like I said, could potentially have a very dark sexual blackmail that's hanging over him. Yeah, that was a feeling I got. That's not a fact, just to be clear. But my gut instincts are usually correct. Anyways, Destiny, I shared with you guys the disgusting stuff that he said. He was proud, owned it, said, "Yeah, I wish Trump had died. I wish Trump had gotten shot, and I'm okay with that sort of a rhetoric." And now he is applauding the death of the firefighter, Corey Comparatore, who was shielding his daughter and his wife and lost his life when the bullet misfired into the crowd. Well, here is Destiny saying, "F him." Take a listen.
The dude, the firefighter guy, Trump, the people that support him. I just want you to know, okay, just in case you're confused or it seems like I'm, whatever. If one of you were in the crowd and you're a conservative fan of mine and you end up, getting blown away or whatever I'm making fun of you the next day on Twitter. I am 100%.
Well, since all of this rhetoric, I can tell you he's definitely facing some real world consequences. Destiny has been banned from Kick. That is the platform from which he streams and makes money from. And also Elon Musk banned him from advertising. So he can't earn any advertising revenue on Twitter or X as well. And he's basically saying, "Oh, look at this is the right. You guys say you care about free speech. And now look at what you're doing." And I would push back on that. First and foremost, we believe in his right to say what he said. No one is calling for his account to be banned on X, but X has rules in terms of
No, that shit needs to be banned ASAP. Like, no way in hell. I think that shit should be banned ASAP.
advertising to keep things advertiser friendly. You cannot call for violence. And he did explicitly call for violence on the X platform, as I showed you a few days ago. And so we believe in free speech. We also believe in consequences for your free speech. And so if you say something and, you can no longer advertise somewhere, but nobody is banning your speech, no one is taking you off of X, then I don't think of this as a conflict. And to be clear, I can I cannot even process what sort of a monster you have to be to have read all about Corey and to have read his daughter's post about how much she loved her father, to know that they are getting ready for a funeral unexpectedly. A man who loved his two daughters tremendously, loved his family, and was a firefighter, served his community. And what you say is, I laugh at your death. I worry. I genuinely, I worry about the soul of an individual who can do that so explicitly, so callously, and feel nothing. And I mean, there are tons of hideous figures all throughout American history. I mean, I personally, it was difficult for me to watch John McCain being celebrated after he lost his battle with cancer, knowing how much he had done in the Middle East in terms of the military-industrial complex, how many families were broken up, how many kids are killed overseas to support the military-industrial complex that made him wealthy. But the idea of celebrating his death as his family was mourning, that would make you a special kind of monster. And that is the reality, is that Destiny is a special kind of monster. And genuinely, you have to pray for people like that. You have to pray for their souls. All right, guys, now Destiny's ugly on the inside. I actually think it's ugly on the outside too. One of the things that women worry about a lot is whether or not our skin is looking beautiful. Can we be more beautiful on the outside? And I'm so happy to introduce you guys to a new sponsor of this show.
I think we're gonna go ahead and call it there. It's crazy the type of shit that goes on, you know, that we just kind of brush off to the side and let shit slide and whatnot, you know. And then, you know, they canceled everybody who had an opposite opinion, an opposing opinion. They took away their fucking platforms, took away their social media, took away their careers, did all types of shit. So the fact that it's happening to other people, I don't feel bad about it. Especially whenever you're calling for the destruction of the one person who's trying to save our fucking country. And you're calling that you're saying straight up that you wish that he would have got hit the way the shooter tried to hit him, and you wish he would have left the earth. You got to go. You know, your career's done. I'm glad Destiny got banned off Kick. I'm glad he can't make money off of fucking Twitter. His Twitter should be banned, honestly. He needs to be banned off all other social media as well. And yeah, man, because there's no way in hell that you cannot look at the shit that Trump did from 2016 to 2020. How fucking crazy our country was, how good the economy was, how low the cost of living was, how low the fucking immigration was, and just overall how good our fucking country was doing. You cannot look at that shit and then turn around and say, oh yeah, Trump needs this and that. Like, there's no fucking way that you have a fucking brain cell. There's no way that you possess a fraction of a brain cell to see how well our country was, and then to turn around and say that he needs to go. Like, there's like if that's the shit that you're saying, then you gotta go. You got to go. You are a terrorist in your own. You are a domestic terrorist within our country, but you gotta go. You gotta go. If you don't like the fact that he gets into office, then just fucking leave. It's not that hard. It's not that big of a deal for you to leave. Nobody will miss you. I sure as hell won't miss you. I guarantee you Trump wouldn't miss you neither. You know, so there's no way in hell that you got a fraction of a brain cell and you're sitting around saying that Trump needs to do this and do that. But I'm glad Destiny got banned off of Kick. That shit, that needed to happen. I hope he got IP banned so he can never make another fucking account on Kick. I hope that he got IP banned on Twitter revenue so he can never make money from Twitter again. And I hope his life crumbles. Because the family of the firefighter, that family has crumbled. You know, that family got destroyed because that firefighter lost his life. And the fact that you're celebrating that, I hope your life crumbles. I hope it all falls down. Like Jenga, whenever you pulled the wrong block playing Jenga, and that whole shit's gonna come falling down now. And I really hope that it does. Fuck destiny. That's 100% facts. That's just how it goes, and I don't give a damn. So, yeah, man, there's a lot of crazy shit going on. I seen that one clip a while ago about Cardi B talking about how, you know, the song, the shit that she writes and as she records activates demons and shit. I've seen that before, and it's not surprising. I wouldn't doubt it because there's so many different ways that you can conjure up fucking spirits and shit. So many different ways that you can invite evil spirits into your life. So many different ways that you can cast spells on people through TV, through music, through products like what you saw with fucking uh Liquid Death last night. There's so many different ways you could do that shit. So it doesn't surprise me. But the thing is, if they sit around, if they tell their fucking puppet masters that they don't want to do that shit, then they're going to get canceled. They're going to lose all the money they fucking have. So it's a lose-lose situation for them. That's why you don't go into the industry by way of puppet masters and selling your soul and this and that, because that's it. That is it. That's 100% facts, but that's it. California is just I used to want to go to California. You know, when I was younger, I used to want to go to fucking LA and see the ocean and see the big city where everything happens and this and that, where quote unquote magic happens, where people go to become famous and this and that. I used to want to walk down Hollywood Boulevard and fucking seeing all the different stars and shit. But now I could fucking care less, bro. Like, I really could care less. California is just more and more becoming a shitty ass fucking state that nobody should really give a shit about. But you got those fucking weirdos that don't even possess a fraction of a brain cell that still live there, knowing damn well that your kids are gonna get fucked up in school because the schools ain't gonna tell you what their kids are going through, what their kids are thinking, how their kids feel about themselves, and this, that, and the third. And then you can't say no to vaccines, and you have to let your kid take that shit, and you have to get that shit too. Like, California's always been a whack state, but now it's just becoming a fucking straight up bullshit state. So anybody that's still willingly living in California, you're fucking retarded. Straight up. You are retarded, especially if you have kids. You are straight up retarded. The retardation is real within you if you still willingly live in California and you have fucking kids. Like, there's no way, bro. There's no way. Nobody in their right mind would still willingly live in a state that has full control of them. That's why California's going to fall off into the fucking ocean one day. God's going to have enough of it, and he's going to say enough is enough. And either a tsunami's going to take that hoe, or earthquake going to split that shit off, and that hoe going to fall in the ocean. Everybody there's going to die. That's a fact. That's just how it goes. That's just how it goes. California's a fucked up ass state. And honestly, I could care less that shit fell in the ocean. Let it go. Unless they fucking change, unless the people there change and they get rid of the fucking Gavin Newsom and kick his ass out and kick out all the fucking corrupt governments that are there passing those bills on the people. Unless that shit happens and it changes and people start making it better, they start turning around, let that shit go into the ocean. I care less. I wouldn't give a fuck. I wouldn't give a fuck. So yeah, man, with that being said, I appreciate y'all for tapping in. Make sure y'all share with your friends, your families, your mummies, your aunties, your grannies, and everybody else that y'all know. I'm about to go live on YouTube for a little bit. Or not YouTube, what the fuck? I'm already over here on YouTube. I'm about to go live on TikTok for a few minutes. You know, so if you feel like tapping in over there, definitely come over and say what's up. And if you want to let Keisha out, I'll just get you up on out of here ASAP. So yeah, man, I'm getting up on out of here. I'm gonna go ahead and get this outro pulled up and we gonna dip. Like California.
Hey, it was a fun tour, going out here and all this shit, all over fucking USA, and I'm done with all this shit. I'm cool off all this fucking talking shit. I got a whole team to represent. I don't want to do none of this. I never did want to do any of it. Fuck this nigga and fuck his team, bro. I'm out. I gotta go. Square up with yourself, motherfucker.